Why is this cow crying out? We don't speak her language, but we do know what she's saying. Give me back my baby. Farmers take newborn calves from their mothers so that their milk, which is intended for the babies, can be sold to humans for dairy products. Nowhere on earth will you find as many grieving mothers as you will in the dairy industry. And it doesn't just happen on industrial farms. Sometimes she will fight to keep her baby. But she always loses. And what happens to the babies who are taken away? The females will become milk machines for the dairy industry, just like their mothers. And the males will be stuffed into veal crates. Dairy cows are impregnated over and over so that they keep producing milk for humans. And baby after baby is kidnapped. How could we do this to them?
Dairy is what we call a mucus-forming food. It contains pus and bacteria and viruses. It is actually the breast milk of an animal, and so you have to remember, it is not about hormones that are injected into that animal. It is actually the hormones that are in that breast milk, the same thing that we have within our own species of breast milk. Those hormones are not meant to be in a human body. So when they go into our body, our own body goes into complete inflammation. Our antibodies don't understand what these hormones are. There's one hormone called IGF-1, which is insulin-like growth factor 1. And when it's taken into the human body, it actually creates makes our pituitary gland secrete more growth hormones. So when you have cancer, that causes cells to replicate. So anybody who's got cancer has got to get off dairy as soon as possible, and yet Western medicine still doesn't seem to see the correlation between the two of them.
Does milk increase mucus production? Is that fact or fiction? It appears to be fact. The milk protein casein breaks down in the stomach to produce a substance called casomorphin, which, as its name implies, has opioid effects, which makes sense from an evolutionary standpoint, as species survival may depend on a close maternal bond between infant and mother. The guess is that opioid receptors on the mucus glands in the respiratory tract may respond to the casomorphin from milk, which could potentially stimulate the production and secretion of mucus from these respiratory glands. This may explain why a subgroup of the population who have increased respiratory tract mucus production find that many of their symptoms, including asthma, improve on a dairy elimination diet.
You might want to put down those chicken wings and dump that glass of milk. They could be as bad for you as a cigarette. That's according to a new study published in the journal Cell Metabolism Tuesday. Middle-aged people who regularly consume a diet high in animal proteins from meat and dairy products are apparently more likely to die of cancer than those who don't. One of the study's authors said in a press release, "There's a misconception that because we all eat, understanding nutrition is simple, but the question is not whether a certain diet allows you to do well for 3 days, but can it help you survive to be 100? To get their results, researchers studied more than 6,000 adults over the age of 50 over the course of 20 years. They found, on average, about 16% of their total daily calories came from protein, and 2/3 of that was animal protein. CBS says researchers then tested the IGFI levels of about 2,200 people in the sample group. Those who consumed the highest levels of animal proteins in their diets were 4 times more likely to die of cancer than low-protein eaters. According to the study, that rate is similar to the cancer risk between smokers and non-smokers.
In a study of 140,000 men this year, 35 grams of dairy protein increased the risk of developing high-grade prostate cancer by 76%. So that's like 2% increased risk for every gram of milk protein. So like a cup of cottage cheese a day could increase one's risk by about 50%.